Welcome to Educational Moments. Educational Moments is a program which is televised at the studios of Wakefield High School, and the program focuses on educational issues of the moment. We welcome you, and we're glad you're able to watch this program today. My name is Stephen F. Mayo, the Superintendent of Schools in Wakefield, and I have as my guest the acting principal of Wakefield High School, Mr. Joseph Selvin. Welcome, Mr. Selvin.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us today in this program. Mr. Selvin, tell us when you started working for the school department in Wakefield. Can you think
I came
back?
to Wakefield in 1977 as the vice principal.
1977. Where had you been working prior to that time?
Before that, I worked for the Department of Correction in a variety of capacities in education. I was the supervising principal for the department for a couple of years and built programs in the intermediate prisons. And before that, I was the principal of the school at Concord for 7 years and developed programs in there from K essentially through high school and then into college. And before that, I worked at the state prison at Norfolk as a teacher of English and a head teacher for the adult basic education program, which I had developed down there. And before that, and in addition to that, I also taught history at MCI Concord at Norfolk.
I know you're continuing your education, and you're currently enrolled in a doctoral program.
Yes.
But what has been your educational experiences?
I graduated from Providence College in 1965, from the State College at Salem in 1969. I attended Boston University in a doctoral program from 72 to 83, and because of my parents' illness, I didn't finish it. In 87, I went back and began at UMass Lowell in a doctoral program, and I'm just about finished with that right now. I graduated from the Command and General Staff School of the United States Army. I have a master's certificate in adult basic education from the University of Maine. And I graduated from the Commonwealth Leadership Academy in the class of 88-89.
Who sponsors the Leadership Academy?
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Education.
Department of Education itself. Yeah. So you're currently completing your dissertation at the University of Lowell.
Yes.
And I know we'll be getting back to that.
Yes.
Now, since 1977, what was your task at Wakefield High School as vice principal?
The original task in 1977, there were 1,800 kids here. It had the school
compared to current enrollment?
Compared to 900 and odd kids here now.
So you had double the enrollment.
Double the enrollment. We had probably double the teachers, I might add, too. And the original task was to reestablish some order in the place because the school had undergone a series of very difficult times. The fire in '71 had, of course, pushed all of the students down here into double sessions, and the times themselves were very difficult. It was the ending parts of the Vietnam War. There was a lot of confusion. There was a lot of drug use, and so one of the major tasks that I had when I came here was to try to make sense out of that and establish some sort of an educational learning environment that was conducive to the kids who needed to learn, and to take those portions of the students who didn't want to be here and put them in some place that we could actually deal with them educationally. So that's what I tried to do.
I know in doing that you did a lot of work with the community.
Yes. Yes.
You want to tell us about that?
Certainly. We of course dealt a great deal with the police in the early years because of some of the problems associated with the violence and so on. We also dealt with the Malden District Court. We dealt with the Eastern Middlesex mental health people. We dealt with the Council of Churches over the years. And they were very effective because they had a pastoral relationship with the community that was much different than ours was. And that relationship has been very, very good, by the way, over the years, as it has been with the police department.
You met with them recently.
Yes, we met with them recently to try to ask them if they'd be interested in coming into the same business that we're in, which is really character development. So over the years, those are the kind of things. It was an evolving process. It originally started with just trying to reestablish order and quote-unquote discipline. But as we moved along, we also found that discipline had many, many sides to it. and that the preventive end of the business was far more effective than the intervention end of the business. And so that's the direction we went with. The thing was to try to establish an environment that was socially based, so that the people wanted to be here for good reasons and would care for the building for good reasons, and that's been evolving over time too. So,
Well, good. I think moving to the acting principalship, that those interactions with the community must be helping you now.
oh yes, quite a bit. The community has been very responsive to helping us. They've wanted to help us. We had on the 27th of the month of January, we had a first of its kind summit meeting. We had all of the faculty, all of the teacher aides, all of the secretaries, the ladies who are our cafeteria cooks and who deal with the kids every day, the custodians. We had the senior class officers, the junior class officers, the student advisory council members, and members representing the student forum, which essentially represents the leadership of the school, the student leadership of the school. We had the PTSA, we had the student and the school council members here, and we met in the library with the singular purpose of deciding as a school community what we centrally valued as a school community. And that was a very interesting, I think, very productive experience. It came out with two very clear issues. One was the issue of respect, and the other one was the issue of responsibility. And those we will translate now, as we've been trying to do, but they certainly give us much more central focus. We'll translate those into programs of leadership development. Which
Would it be fair to say those are the core values?
Those are the very core values.
School community would cherish in
That's
terms
right.
of the foundation for everything that happens in the school.
That's
Is that
correct.
basically what
That's
happened?
correct. That's correct. And you'll see some of the manifestations of that effort beginning in what takes place on Monday mornings with my leading the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, as the school community asked me to do, and to speak a little bit about respect and responsibility on that.
Do you do that on Mondays? then?
Every Monday.
Every Monday?
Every Monday.
And this fits into the character development?
It fits into the character development. It also fits into the issue of responsibility of the school community for itself. And how you behave toward each other really has a great effect on the school environment. And I think we've seen some changes in the way people have been behaving.
Okay.
Because they think
You're getting
about
a little ahead of my question.
Okay.
My question has to do with moving from the vice principal to
Yes.
the principal role. Where do you see the major shift is there?
Well, the major shift is from day-to-day operations and managing the school on a day-to-day basis, as I was charged to do, and managing all of the nitty-gritty and the time-consuming daily activities, to setting a direction for the school and trying to manage the central factors of the school, and that's the big leap is right there. And the school summit was a start in that direction, specifically because we need to deal with setting a direction for the school for the next 2 or 3 years as a school community. It's not something that I could possibly set by itself because of the dynamics of the school itself. You can't just say we're going to do this and it's going to happen. It's investing everybody in making it happen that really is the difficult piece, because you have so many different constituencies in the school that to get them all to agree on 2 central values and then drive on those is worthwhile. But that's one piece of it that drives the second piece of change for me. Is my job now is to develop that instructional delivery system, to retool it for the 21st century. And that's a particularly difficult thing, because it's not something you can stop the school and put everyone away for a while you retool it and drop it in as a set piece. It's something akin to retooling a 747 during takeoff. What we've decided on, however, is that the direction we really want to go is in the area of student-centered learning, which speaks to respect and responsibility and lifelong learning and the core values of the school, and the core values that are being sent out for review what really is taking place is that we're trying to retool it on three prongs. One, of course, is the staff development issue. That's a central piece. Our teaching is not something that's a routine. Teaching is something that's an art that requires constant revitalization because you're always asked to perform differently. The kids are never the same every single day. The kids are not standard kids. They're really individual. And so you have to have an array of teaching skills that continually is broadened to meet those changing children as they walk in the door every moment. So we're working on that. We're driving on the instructional technology for all the teachers in particular. That in turn will be matched with the growing need for curriculum revitalization and a building down program so that we have a really effective match between the instructional technology and the curriculum itself that's fitted together. And we're not sure how that's going to work out, but we see it moving into a building down situation where we will have a different probably configuration of the school in a couple of years.
No, the teachers getting training?
Well, teachers, there's 38,
How's that happening?
68% of the teachers right now are trained in the thing called study skills. There are another 20 or 24 of us from throughout the system, both horizontally and vertically, meaning going down to the elementary schools, who are participating in a thing called format training, which deals specifically with learning styles. So you match your teaching styles to your learning styles more effectively. And that's really where that's going.
I hope so. I really think that's where the breakthrough in education is today.
That certainly is a piece, and the curricula follows that instructional technology, matching it. You then go down, of course, to your support services and all of the social learning that you have to do in the school. Because you have a great opportunity. You have them for 9,000 hours in 4 years. You have a great opportunity to use all of the activities of the school, both the academic classroom, I suppose you'd call them, classroom activities of the school, as well as the school itself and all of its associated activities, co-curricular activities, extracurricular activities. All of those can be used as an instructional piece, and that's where we're working, moving that direction. You'll see us coming with a thing called Connections, for better or for worse. We're trying to connect those children who are incoming to us, who are having a difficult time making connections into the school. We're going to try to connect them with individual teachers so they have sort of an advocate in the school, because we know that if we personally connect someone to the school, what happens is they succeed more fully. We've seen that happen in the study skills business in particular. The third piece, of course, is adding the technology to the staff development and the curricular development and the associated support services and social learning activities. So what you have is a whole school focus on a cocoon that places the student at the center of learning, and what you're doing is you drive on that and you just wheel on it. That's the most difficult piece for me. Bringing the community.
I think it's great that you're really putting it into a model and then referring to that model to make sure that the youngster is in the center of it.
Yeah.
I understand you had an open house this year?
Yes.
To make those connections?
Yes, we
on
did.
a Saturday, you had an open house which allowed for parents and kids to come through the
That's
school?
correct. But
That's the first time that was done.
that's the first time it was done on this scale.
Right.
It was done in conjunction with the PTSA, who really were the driving force on it in the beginning, and continue to be a driver. They were really the major proponent of it. The faculty came in on Saturday, and it was really an opportunity for us to show our wares. Not a lot of people really had believed that the high school was of such a high quality as it really is, because we don't market ourselves very well to the community. And this was our first opportunity to have people come in and see what we have, see what the facilities look like, see the quality of the faculty that's here, and see that their investment in us is certainly worth the effort. That's what we wanted to show.
Excellent. I've heard really a lot of
yeah.
good things about that, and I managed to drop in for a little while. It looked looked like a well-run program.
There were about 400 people who came to that. I know that there were people still traveling throughout the building about 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Doing that every year, I think that
every
would
year.
increase.
Well, that's part of the 8th grade orientation program.
Yes.
An 8th grade orientation program runs in the very beginning, where the guidance counselors go down and talk to the kids. And then we have the parents' orientation night, followed by the open house, followed by the selection of courses. And the department heads and the master teachers are working on some sort of an orientation program for the kids before they get here. and we're trying to work out some other situations where we can get the kids into the school and make them comfortable here. We're going to, just as an example, we're going to scramble the freshman homerooms coming in next year because we know that when the kids have been in the first grade through 8th grade together, they've already established leaders, sub-leaders, and really scapegoats. And that doesn't change, so we're going to scramble it so everybody gets a chance to start fresh when they get
It'll
here.
be interesting to watch that.
Certainly will.
Tell me about study skills, though, before we
Okay.
close.
Study skills has had a real impact on what goes on in this school. It's open. This school is departmentalized and architecturally configured for separation. What study skills has done for the faculty, just for the faculty, before we even get to what it's done for the children, what it has done is it has broken that barrier, that physical barrier and that really psychological barrier of isolation. And it's brought everyone together in interdisciplinary teams. We see the reforming of teams. We see a great regeneration in interest in doing all sorts of wonderful things. They really, my impression from talking to lots of the faculty is that they're really excited about what's going on again. And it's nice to see. For the kids, and I think that's a centerpiece of changing all of the business of the school so that we're not looking at saying that this is just a high school. This is going to be a leading high school. We're going to lead the way in a lot of things. The piece that has happened for the kids in particular is that it's taken some of the processes associated directly with special education, which have had market success in smaller areas. We've taken those processes of teaching kids how to learn and how to manage themselves, and we've taken that and put that into the developmental system so that the special kids aren't special anymore. You know, they don't get special attention. Everybody gets the same attention. And what we've seen happen is that all of the kids come to class more well prepared. They come more.
What class are we talking about now?
We're talking about the entire sophomore class.
Entire sophomore.
Entire sophomore class. This is the result of a pilot we did the year before.
Why don't you do the whole school?
We're going to do the whole school next year.
Are you going to have the funding for it?
I certainly hope so. It's certainly it's well worth the investment. It's a small scale investment. This has a disproportionate impact because we know that the smallest, if you teach the kids how to learn, they spend less time on framing the problems and more time on solving the problems. So they become more efficient learners. They go into novel situations and have an array of skills with which to approach a problem. And so they become better at them.
Do you see these skills building?
We see them all the time.
What do you see happen?
We see the kids, as I said, coming into school more well prepared, more orderly. The classroom teachers are telling us that they're gaining 5 to 10 minutes per class period because there's no fumbling for the pencil, no looking through your books for where you put your homework. Everything's in order. There are planning calendars that the teachers hand out. Every 2 or 3 weeks they hand out a calendar that has everything that's going to go on. They give it to each one of the students. There's no question about what's there. It gives the kids, who are 75–80% of them are involved in extracurricular activities, very busy. So they need to see where they're going, and that gives them the opportunity to do that. They respond by achieving better. The discipline problems associated with frustration in classrooms have dropped considerably. Our referrals to special education have dropped considerably, and it's certainly a short-term investment that has really major impact.
What are these red ring binders I see?
The red ring binders are the Master Notebook System modified. That comes from Landmark College, where several of our faculty, one of our faculty in particular, who was a driving piece in getting us going on this, Terry Fuller. The Master Notebook System means that for each student keeps all of his quarter's work in a particular order by subject in the notebook, and that's inspected a couple of times a month by the teachers. If you don't have it there, they count it into your marking system. It provides them with an order for their day. We also had calendars produced so that yearly calendar is right in there. They can open that calendar and see everything that's going on right in front of them all the time. So they have the master calendar, and they have every subject sliced off by a little tab, and that keeps everybody in order all the time. So no matter where you're going, that book goes with you, because that's your ticket to what's going on. If you're sitting down waiting to go practice track, you open your book and go through your stuff. And you can do some of your homework, and it's right there in front of you, not fumbling.
And I assume your expectation is they're going to transfer these skills
Well, they
into grade 11 and 12 in the workplace or college.
that our experience with the pilot, and we expect our experience this year will be, because it goes across the curriculum. So you're not using it in this subject only or as a separate piece.
Right.
Because it goes across the curriculum, what happens is you get to use it in every subject all the time, or at least on some sort of a regular basis. So you get to practice the skill. And as you practice the skill, you become better at it. And so you use it in other areas. And kids have told us they've used it other places. They told us they've used the skills in work to organize things, to listen to lectures that they needed to listen to, and to figure out problems that were novel. They just get all,
Have
very
other
interesting.
schools been asking you about this program?
Yes, we've had inquiries from about a half a dozen schools, as far away as Marblehead and New Bedford, Malden, and I'm not sure the other one is just yet, but there's 5 or 6.
So you have had some.
We've had some inquiries, yes.
Mr. Sullivan, my last question, could you, in anticipation of the Massachusetts Educational Assessment Program, the MEEP tests,
Yes.
do you think this study skills program will help? The sophomores are taking the test, are
Yes,
they not? So
yes.
do you think it'll be helpful to them?
I think it will be helpful to them in a variety of ways. One is that it's a very serious test, and the kids have approached the business of learning all this year in particular from a very serious aspect. We expect that they will approach this with equal seriousness, and that it will in fact have an impact on them, because we've taught them a lot of things about how to manage tests, for one, and I think they also
How to take tests as
how
part
to
of
take
study
tests as
skills,
part of it.
right?
And I think just the general feeling among the students that they can be successful in whatever task they approach, I think that will have the biggest impact of all on not just the MEEP test, because that's a very narrow gauge of success.
True.
Our real focus is on them as a person and being a lifelong learner, of course. I think that because of the seriousness with which the whole year has been approached, that alone will have an impact on them. Do I expect them to succeed more fully? Geez, I certainly hope so.
Well, we'll soon know. I think the
We soon
tests,
will know.
we're taping this program March 23rd. They're going to take the tests early
30th.
April, so we'll know soon enough.
Yes.
And I'd like to thank you for coming
Thank you for having me.
to Educational Moments, and I certainly wish you a lot of luck on all your educational programs at the high school.
Thank
I
you.
think the study skills program, and especially the interdisciplinary nature of the program, is very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
I'd like to thank you all for watching Educational Moments. If you do have suggestions for future programs, I would appreciate your sending them to the Office of the Superintendent of Schools. And we've moved to 60 Farm Street, right in the high school building in Wakefield. Thank you.